A musician not having their life together after years in the business isn't exactly something new. That's why so many of them burn out and fade away, relegated to the status of one-hit wonders. The world of rap is no different, but few rappers have wasted more of their prime years getting shot or serving time in and out of prison than Chicago artist King Yella. Whether he's beefing with Offset over smashing Cardi B or claiming the cops are out to get him, this longtime member of the GDs is as intense, gritty, and aggressive in real life as he is in his music. You know, when he actually gets around to making some, which honestly isn't all that often anymore. Instead, he's turned himself into something of a YouTuber and is making a decent living doing so. But before we get into that, please remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to help us reach as many people as possible. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the story of King Yella. King Yella was born Simone Lewis on February 25, 1990 in Chicago, Illinois. Ever since first breaking into the music industry circa 2010, King Yella has remained pretty tight-lipped about his past, probably because he has spent so much of his youth wrapped up in the gang scene that Chicago is notorious for.
The Hispanic gangs.
What about them?
There's a lot of them in Chicago?
Hell yeah, Latin Kings, Latin folks, SDs, there's all type of shit.
In other words, King Yella spent a lot of time as a youngster hustling on the streets of Chi-Town. More specifically, he also became a member of the Gangster Disciples set known as Outta Block, something he'd later take to calling Skeez World or Skeezy Gang, a moniker he would later repurpose for the titles of his mixtapes. King Yella would drop his first single on August 6, 2010 with a song titled Swag Check. From there, he'd further associate himself with rappers and gang members from FBG and STL among many others. Over the next handful of years, he'd continue to produce music to varying degrees of success, releasing mixtapes like 2014's Yella Corleone, alongside singles like Ain't With That Glow and Clout. Most of these tracks would show up on his SoundCloud profile, and he'd release the accompanying music videos over on YouTube. But in the mid-2010s, King Yella's music career began to noticeably dry up, probably because it was around this time that he started going in and out of prison like it was some sort of revolving door. In 2013, at only 23 years old, King Yella was reportedly facing a 30-year prison bid. In subsequent interviews, he has been hesitant to say exactly what he was being charged with at the time, but he's been quite clear that he believes the cops threw a bogus case at him, one that was eventually dropped during the preliminary hearing due to a lack of probable cause. Whatever trouble he found himself in still ended up sending him away to serve time due to a parole violation, but at the very least, he didn't lose 3 decades of his life. That being said, over the next handful of years, King Yella would find himself in and out of prison on various charges like gun possession, battery, and child endangerment. Now, we will get to some of those in a minute, but before we do, let's take a look at the time that he survived being shot. Now, King Yella spent a great deal of his 2016 campaigning for social issues like Black Lives Matter, and somehow it almost ended costing him his life. While recording a music video promoting the movement of South Wentworth Avenue in Chicago, suddenly shots rang out and King Yella was struck by stray rounds in his arm and upper torso. More than just that, King Yella's girl would also get grazed by a stray bullet. Almost on cue, the Black Disciple affiliate Twitter account known as Wavy Crockett 79 would repost Yella's footage while insinuating taking credit as well. Having miraculously survived the attack, Yella would then show off the wounds during interviews on social media and let everybody know that God was working through him.
Yeah, man, they grazed my girl on the leg, him, my cousin. You know, God good though, man, you know. Big ass hole through my cousin's shirt, he had a graze on his stomach, you feel me? Slight word though.
But rather than batten down the hatches and start moving more carefully, King Yella would continue to do more or less the exact opposite, because shortly thereafter he brought a whole lot more attention to himself when he began speaking about a possible former relationship with Cardi B. Once King Yella's rap career didn't exactly blow up the way he was no doubt imagining it would, he transitioned himself into something more of a YouTube personality by posting regular vlogs to his channel. Sometimes these uploads would include the occasional new song, like the track titled Cardi B Truth, in which King Yella flaunted what he claims was a former intimate relationship with Cardi B. Of course, when Cardi B's husband Offset heard about this, he was pretty upset over the entire thing.
You said what? Yeah, yeah, I know where I'm at too. I know you know. Man, you can't warn me nothing, blood. What the
He confronted Yella and was reportedly willing to fight the dude over the rumors, even though Cardi B herself would deny King Yella's claims outright.
Did you smash Cardi B? No, man, I ain't had sex with Cardi B, man. You know, it wasn't me.
Offset and King Yella would never actually wind up coming to blows, and eventually King Yella would even apologize for lying about the entire thing a few years later. As it turns out, he may have actually learned about himself while spending yet another 3 years in prison. You see, in 2018, the same year that Yella was letting loose about all these Cardi B rumors, he was also arrested for charges that included domestic abuse and the neglection of his infant child.
Do you hear her crying right now, officer? Is she crying now? Exactly. So tell me, where's the child endangerment at? Man, knock it off. My daughter fine. Y'all bothering me. You ain't been in the trenches. You ain't been where real life at. You been in the palm trees where good life at. Y'all don't know what we go through in our hood, in the struggle.
He'd wind up spending 3 years behind bars, only to be released in 2021. He filmed his release from prison, and shortly thereafter, a music video titled "Counted Me Out" would appear on his YouTube channel. He'd then spend the next year continuing to film content for his social media feeds at prolific pace. That is until he wound up getting himself into even more trouble for posting so often that he wound up breaking conditions of his parole once again. That meant that King Yella was headed back to prison, although admittedly, this time it was for a much shorter stint. More recently, Yella has revealed that not only is he out of jail, but his YouTube channel is finally beginning to turn a real profit. A few days ago, he posted a video to Instagram that clearly showed just how much money he had made off of YouTube for the past month. A pretty decent $10,000. It seems like the days of King Yella being a verified rap star are more or less behind him. I mean, sure, he may occasionally drop a music video like Thugs Cry or I'm a Dog, but generally speaking, these videos pull in far less views than his vlogging content. So today, Yella is more or less content with becoming a social media influencer, from surviving being shot multiple times to making it through nearly a decade spent in and out of lockup. I can understand why.
This GD, man, this I was born in it, so a gangster folks, but this suck. Down south folks no more realer, gang. They show way more love, gang. Everywhere, but Chicago, crabs in a mother bucket in the barrel, gang, pulling each other down. The whole Chicago, y'all don't know how y'all making us look.
Still, it's pretty impressive that King Yella has managed to reinvent himself and stay as relevant as he ever has been. The question is, will that continue to be the trend moving forward? We're just gonna have to keep an eye on his career to find out. But now you're all caught up on the recent history of King Yella. Please be sure to let us know what you thought about his story in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications before you head out. If you'd like to check out other recent entries on rappers in this series, then take a look at our videos about Lil TJ, House of Pain, and The Game. My name is Clyde, and I'll see you guys in another video.